if like somebody came in asking for this, you're probably charging.
No, I don't think that.
Good afternoon, and welcome everyone to the Finance Committee meeting. At this point, we're being called to order, and could I get approval of the September minutes, please?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you all. First up today is the 2020 Accountability Audit, and Christine Krofinski will come and join us. Welcome, ladies. I hardly ever see just one of you, so.
Good afternoon, Council. I'm Christine Krosky, the Internal Auditor for the City of Spokane, and I'm here to introduce the topic of the 2020 Accountability Audit presented by the State Auditors.
Should have some packets I'll hand out.
Thank you.
We were just here last month.
At least it's not this big.
Not quite that big, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's nice. How much is that?
Okay, so, and I believe we have a PowerPoint as well to present.
If you open up that presentation or the folder on the bottom, yep, should be in there.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so we'll be going through the PowerPoint. I'll do some introductions here in just a second, and then your packet is a summary of that, and I'll kind of point out some pages as we go through. So we do have your 2020 accountability audit results. I'm Tara Alfano, I supervise the audit, and then I have Alicia Shaw here as well. And then we actually have joining us today our Assistant Director of Local Audit, Brandy Pritchard. She's joining virtually. And unfortunately, Alicia has lost her voice, so she's just here. She still wanted to attend, but won't be able to present, so it'll be me and Brandy going over the results for you. So, like I said, since we were just here last month, I won't give you the full details about our office, but as you know, we work as an independent organization to provide transparent examinations of the operations of our auditees, and our audit results are provided directly to the citizens that you serve. So today we're providing the results of the 2020 accountability audit, and then we'll also answer any questions that you might have about the audit. And like I said, we provided the packet today that we'll be referring to as we go, but most of it is summarized here on the slides. So our accountability audit results. So we did conduct the accountability audit from January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020. As a reminder, the accountability audit is an audit that examines compliance with state laws, contracts, the city's adopted policies and procedures. In addition, these audits also look at whether, in general, the city has adequate internal controls in place to safeguard public funds. We have provided a draft audit report with these audit results. It can be found starting on page 4 of your packet. And then this slide is going to also include the results in brief, which is on that page 4. And you'll see in the blue box here that in most of the areas we examined, city operations complied in all material respects with applicable state laws, regulations, and its own policies, and provided adequate controls over safeguarding public resources. So as previously discussed with members of the council and administration, our audit did find noncompliance during our review of the wastewater utility tax section, and this is being reported as a finding, and we will get to discuss that here in a few minutes in detail. And then as another reminder about the accountability audit, we do use a risk-based approach to select specific areas to the city to examine during our audit. So those areas are selected based on our risk assessments completed in planning, which incorporate reviewing council minutes, analyzing financial trends, and conducting risk assessment questionnaires with key staff and council members. And then also a reminder, you'll see this bottom paragraph on the slide here that our audit results are focused just on those areas that were selected for audit to be examined.
Remit.
Okay, so this,
All right. Sometimes we have to speak up here to stop that.
Yeah.
okay.
Not you.
So this slide lists all the areas we looked at during our 2020 audit. You can see we did select quite a few to look at. So I won't speak to all of them, but I've picked a few to highlight and give you a little bit of background on what we looked at for the audit. So we did look at procurement and we reviewed several public works projects and professional service contracts that were awarded through the competitive bidding process. So we determined that all those projects and contracts that we looked at were in compliance with state procurement laws and the city's policies. And then we also reviewed some of the public works contracts to look for compliance with both prevailing wage and contract payment requirements. So again, we determined that state prevailing wage requirements were met and that the contractor payments were allowable in comparison to the project's scope of work. And then we also looked at the use of transportation benefit district funds. So this area was actually brought to our attention in a citizen concern that was filed through our hotline process. So the concern was related to the use of TBD funds for unallowable projects and the Citizens Transportation Advisory Board structure. So we noted no further concerns or exceptions when we did review that section that came from the citizens' concern. And we did provide a letter summarizing that work and the audit results to the council president last week. And we'll provide a similar letter to the council or to the citizen stating that same thing. Another area we looked at was the police department forfeiture funds. So SMC 8.19.020 requires an annual audit of this area by our office. So for that work, we reviewed activity related to forfeited property dispositions and the use of forfeiture funds for compliance with the SMC and also state laws. So again, we're happy to report that that section, we didn't find any exceptions and we found it was in compliance with those state laws and the SMC. And then I guess just before we move on to talking about the wastewater utility tax, can I answer any questions about the areas we looked at for audit? Yes.
I'm curious, can we, if we had a question regarding something, just say police forfeiture funds as an example, could we go to you in advance for feedback on whether or not an action we might take would or would not be in compliance?
You can reach out to the local team, and then we also have our help desk, which will give you a written response, and it will cite any applicable laws or anything that they can provide back from that. But yes, definitely,
Okay.
You can reach out.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Councilman Bingo.
Yes.
Hi. So when you're looking at these particular sections of the government, is this like a statewide, these are the things that we're going to look into today, or regionally determined, or is it based on, citizen? How do you determine which sections you're looking at?
It's really a combination of all of those things. So there are definitely inherent risks for cities, like procurement's a big one. But then we also look at the city's specific activity. If there was a new revenue source or anything that was a major change, we would look at that. And then, anything, like I said, that our office is finding throughout the state where there's been exceptions or if there's extra risk or anything like that, we consider all of that.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Yep. Anything else?
Continue.
Okay. So we have included the draft finding on pages 6 through 8 of your packet. Since we've already provided a copy of the finding to council and because you did help draft the response to the finding, we'll just provide a high-level review of that, and then we can allow for additional questions. So as you know, the finding is related to work we performed on the city's utility tax for the wastewater treatment system. and also this tax is imposed through the municipal code. Our audit did find the tax has not been charged to Spokane County, which operates the system within city limits since 2011. And then additionally, we found that the tax was not imposed uniformly as the city's own wastewater treatment system does pay the tax through interfund billings. And then you'll see we've also included an effect of condition. So this we used to demonstrate the effect of not charging that tax. And we completed a high level and very simplified estimate of the tax that hasn't been collected. And that was, our estimate was 5.1 million annually, and we had data available to us from 2017 through 2020. So that estimate is based on that data that was available to us, and again, it's just an estimate. And then another key thing to point out is our recommendation, which can be found on page 7. And this is that the city complies with its adopted municipal code or amends it. And then we also recommend that the city works with the county to determine an accurate amount of those utility taxes that should be levied and collected. And then we also wanted to thank the city for the response provided, and we have included that in its entirety in the audit report, which will be published to our website, and that's also found on page 7. So at this time, we would just like to see if there's any questions we could answer, anything else related to the finding that we haven't already gone over.
Councilmember
Yes.
Catron.
If this particular finding remains, what is the, I guess, what's the outcome of that? If it's still here a year from now, 2 years from now, what happens to the city?
So what we do in our audit work is we follow up in our next audit to see what's the status of that corrective action. We do sometimes have repeat findings if there's no action taken, or we can, if you've determined that you're still trying to implement it, you know, there's been partial action taken, we take that into account as well. So it'll be just another follow-up to kind of see where you're at, what changes have been made, stuff like that.
And then just to be clear from the conversation we had about this a month or so ago, there will be no equal finding on the county's side as a result of this, correct? They'll be cleared?
Well, so the audit team that does the county's audit will consider any risks that could be related to them. But from this audit, because the county hasn't been billed for those taxes, it's, you know, very focused on the city not collecting that tax. So we have let the other team know that they should consider that for a risk, but we can't say what that outcome will be for the county.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Zepone.
Yeah, so I guess just to clarify, because I'm new to all this.
Yeah.
So then you continue to follow up and no actions ever change. There's like no penalty. It's just like, hey, by the way, this is taxes you could be collecting and you're not. Is that kind of?
Well, our office can't impose any penalty. We're just the reporting agency, so we can just give you the recommendation that you're not in compliance with your municipal code. So, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No? Okay. And then the next page, you'll see, like we were just kind of discussing, we do a summary schedule of prior audit findings. So we did have a finding in 2019 that we did follow-up procedures on, and this was for a finding related to the CHHS department, again, for fiscal year 19. So we did work with city staff to get a summary schedule of prior audit findings, which includes the city's corrective actions that have been taken and the status of that finding. So again, this will be included in our audit report and can be found on page 9 of your packet. So we did conduct some follow-up procedures on the issue, and we do agree with the city's assertion that the issue is partially corrected and still in progress. Any questions on that?
Councilmembers? No?
And with that, I will pass it over to Brandy, who is attending virtually. She was going to close out for us.
Tara, I just want to double check. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just a few closing remarks for everyone. So At the beginning of the audit, we provided you an engagement letter that included our estimated audit costs for this engagement, and we're pleased to announce that our actual audit costs will be in alignment with what we had estimated. We also are starting to gear up on your next audit, which again is happening now in 2022, and that covers accountability for public resources for 2021. And we've provided in your exit packet an estimate, a cost estimate for that particular engagement. Your report is ready to be published. We were just waiting on this particular meeting, and so you can expect that it will be released probably within a week or two. And we have a link in our PowerPoint here of where you can go sign up to receive free notifications of not only when your audit reports are issued, but really any audit reports, and also to hear about other resources from our office. Also, as part of that, you'll receive an audit survey that goes to selected members of management, and those can be forwarded to anyone in the city who we've worked with. So we encourage your feedback on how the audit process went. And lastly, we just want to extend another thank you. We really appreciate the city's professionalism and cooperation during the audit. And we specifically wanted to mention Danielle Arnold and Christine Krosky, who are our 2 audit liaisons. And again, we really appreciate all their cooperation and their time and their assistance throughout the audit. Again, just one final moment for questions if anyone has any.
Seeing none, thank you again for.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to have some Q&A regarding the 2023 preliminary budget, and Chief Financial Officer Tanya Wallace is going to address us. Welcome.
Thank you, council members. See if Jacoby could pull up the presentation. Yep. That would be great. I do have 20 minutes, so I'm going to try to.
That was the wrong one.
Almost.
What's the title?
There you go. Yep, thank you. So there are a lot of questions, so I'm going to cover quite a bit of this as quickly as I can in 20 minutes. But also, we have scheduled some meetings with many of you one-on-one to answer your very specific questions. So really, I'm going to kind of cover and focus on general fund estimates, some of our financial challenges as we go into this post-pandemic environment and what that looks like, and again, hope to hit most of your questions. In the process, so I know this is somewhat hard to read, but the process actually launched in March. We went live with Questica, and this is our first year using this new tool. So it was a bit of a learning curve for everybody involved. Also in March was the key time that the capital improvement plan got started. So it got started, the system was open, projects were going in, and then a lot of that had to get wound up and presented to you really for our public works projects in June so that we could have that in effect for the state's fiscal year. But in June, I came to all of you in FNA, presented our 21 end of year, presented our mid-year forecast, also gave a 2023 trial budget, and then we had an executive retreat with the mayor. And really what that executive retreat, just for your information, it was not about the numbers. It was about what are our goals and initiatives, what is it that as divisions we want to achieve, what are we working on operationally for the city. Then June and July were really number crunching for all of the departments. They made their submission really into August, into Questica. The central finance folks, we started looking, we started asking questions, and on many occasions, we reopened the system and pushed everything back to them while they were still working on many updates and new numbers. October, we presented both to you, you and the mayor, with these preliminary estimates. They are estimates, they are subject to change. And then in November, we will submit the final proposed budget and open up the hearing process to all of you. So here is a summary of those preliminary budget estimates. They are also included in your packet, along with many, many other detailed numbers. So it's a lot to go through. You can see projection here. We do have a deficit.
Hello.
Thank you, Council President. We do have a projected deficit. When we started with a slight surplus, much of this is a planned use of fund balance that you have planned. Over $4 million, for example, are encumbrances that we rolled over. So a lot of this is for planned anticipated uses. Now you look at the 23 estimates of where we're at, and we are projected to have at least a $4.3 million deficit as things are right at this moment. Now, there have been questions of, but Tanya, we've seen a lot of these other items. Where are they? Are they included or are they not? So you can see on the amended, which is something that many of you have seen before, has a lot of those retro pays related to our labor agreements. We also have several SBOs. The warming shelter that was passed in January, that was an SBO that came forward. The mayor's office personnel, police vehicles, $3.1 million. That $3.1 million of police vehicles from unappropriated fund balance, if you follow right up there, you'll see row 21, capital outlay. That's where a lot of that is. So these numbers are incorporated into the projections, assumed that we're going to spend them. So that's where those numbers are. Down below is just the source of funding. So that's where those kind of line up. And of course, you can see there, these are projections subject to change. The last quarter of a fiscal year does tend to cause some fluctuations. Retirements, for example, are a huge element that gets announced, and we have payouts that happen at that time. You can see there PDA 26, PDA retro payment. You are going to be hearing a lot more about that. We have come up with a methodology. I'm looking at you, Councilmember Cathcart. We are starting to present at the board meetings of the PDAs what that methodology looks like, and we have calculated what those retro payments are. So you will see some more of that information coming forward. So here, about $5.9 million surplus overall. We did start the fiscal year. Again, with encumbrances and unappropriated, that should be about the balance. Now it can fluctuate, give or take. There's still several months to go in the fiscal year. General fund estimates for 23. This is just for a little bit of perspective. Really about 80% of all our general fund, and this is by department divisions. The biggest chunk is police and fire. Even though we transfer a lot to fire, that is over half of our entire general fund budget. They also had some of the largest estimated increases happening going into the next fiscal year. Then you see public works, streets, utilities, parks, which again is by charter, how much we give to the parks, and you can keep on going down that. And then when you get into the other, that very last category, which is about 10% of the entire general fund, that is a lot of our smaller departments. That is the mayor's office, the city council, F&A, hearing examiner, ombudsman. A lot of our smaller departments, but basically any department under $3 million is all in that group. So I'm going to focus a little bit on retail sales tax because there were a lot of questions about retail sales tax. And this is probably one, at least in my experience, one of the hardest times to actually project where sales tax is going for a couple reasons. But here's the composition of sales tax. The city, you can see, for $1,000, we're that small part. And you're going to hear a lot about sales tax. I'm sure you hear a lot about it, particularly when we have a special event of all the sales tax that is booming in the economy. Why can't the city do more? Well, the biggest reason why the city can't do more, not out of not wanting to do more, is we're not the primary beneficiary of that sales tax. The state is the primary beneficiary of the sales tax. We do get a little more than 10% of all of those dollars. Here's what's happened with sales tax just in the last few years, and then what we're looking at. So you can see what happened in 19 through 20 when the pandemic hit. We lost revenue. We did take some corrective action in anticipating for this, not really understanding either at the time of how long the pandemic was going to last or how long the economic recovery was going to have to take place post the pandemic. So we lost 3.5% of all of that revenue. That is really dramatic when we were still having and employing. We needed to employ people. We needed to provide those services at the most critical time during the pandemic. But then look what happened last year. The highest growth we've ever had in sales tax. Now, we are projecting it to not be quite as strong and resilient, but we are projecting a growth. We have not seen it yet stop or stagnate or go level. Now, a lot has happened. Even last month when the Fed moved interest rates, the intent of the Federal Reserve is to slow down the spending, slow down the inflation. And there are even now more announcements of more Federal Reserve increases. Again, the intent is to slow it down, but we're not actually experiencing a slowdown yet. The other key, so we're trying to balance that out, but another big thing that we have to keep in mind is that we still have several millions of federal dollars that are not yet in the community. Presumably, our own ARPA dollars are not yet cash flowing through the community, but they will, and same with the counties. But it's not just our own ARPA, it is several other federal funds that are not yet flowing through our community. Just like when the federal dollars began to hit us in 21, the stimulus dollars going into families and coming into different forms, we see what happens. So yes, we are projecting a slowdown in the growth, but we also have to balance that out with there's still well over $150 million that's going to be spent in our community that wouldn't normally be spent in our community in a pre-pandemic environment. Baseline projections. So you can kind of see there is a gap. No doubt there is a gap. You can clearly see this in this scenario. But we're still in a relatively strong financial position under this environment. We started with more than 20 million in encumbrances and unappropriated fund balance. So that is before we even touch on our contingency reserve and revenue replacement reserve. So we are in a much better position than many, many other jurisdictions. Now, we did create, because it's always nice to know, our projections are always going to be wrong. I'll be the first to say the projections are always going to be wrong. So looking at an optimistic scenario and a pessimistic scenario. Optimistic scenario, I think there were questions of how can we project a 6-point plus growth in sales tax? Well, we just look back and say if history just keeps doing what history is doing, our actual history was over 7%. So it's still under what we've historically had over the last 10 years. Now, pessimistic. This is if we have a prolonged recession. Most recessions on average last about 8 months, and then you recover. We have a lot going on here that even in a pessimistic scenario, and this is quite pessimistic, still shows roughly just under 2% of growth. We do have population moving in. We do have folks doing things. We have a lot of good things still happening in the city. And the city has always lagged nationally what is happening. So we're hearing a lot of what is happening nationally. The data has not yet presented itself that way. Even if we look at housing and permits, it's still not presenting what we're hearing. But we are watching all of that very, very carefully. So what about public? So I'm going to get just to a few direct questions, then I'm going to close with some reserves. And again, I invite meetings. What about public safety equipment? The city has a good program. It initiated a good program in 2013. It covered a big bubble that was happening at the time. But it has never fully funded the needs. So the needs have always outpaced the amount of funding. The funding is limited, and we do need to take a holistic view of that and update that plan according to what the needs are now holistically, and not necessarily pull it apart in pieces. Impacts of not funding. This was a question that was asked. True, not funding means higher prices, particularly in this inflationary environment. But also, we want to make sure that we're investing in absolutely what we need. I think it was you, Councilmember Wilkerson, that asked, do we need it, and do we need it now? We should be asking that question on all of our major investments. Strategies will continue to be reviewed and presented.
But Tanya, so in 2013, we had a program of some SIP loans, and we increased the amount of general fund dollars year over year by $1 million each year going over. And in 2021, I think we stopped increasing that by $1 million. So for 2021 and 2022, so it would have been $1 million in 2021, $2 million in 2022. So we're down $3 million on what we were adding. But in this budget, I'm assuming we're not adding, but do we actually have dollars that we're spending for fire capital not related to SIP loans, but actual general fund dollars?
Cash, are we cash purchasing versus borrowing? Yes, sir, we are.
And how much in 2023 for fire?
Both fire and police are about $1.5 million each. I don't remember the exact number, but Council President, I can get you that information.
Because what I'd really like to see is what we were spending before. So in 2018, 19, 20, how much in each? Because my sense is that $1.5 million is far less than we were spending before. And so that's because we keep. So my concern is that we'll get this budget as currently proposed, and then we're suddenly going to hear you got to find $3 million for fire vehicles or more. And so I guess I want to know that now so that we can prioritize when we're doing the budget that need against all the needs.
Yep, we will definitely get you some information on that. Just part of that clarification, what we've spent has been limited to the amount of funding. That is a different set of circumstances rather than what is needed.
Yep.
There's need, then there's funding, and then you only spend what is funded. So the need has always outpaced that.
Yeah.
How many new positions are proposed? On page 13, describes some new positions. There really aren't any new positions per se in the general fund, largely. Now, the mayor is still considering some proposals that have been put, and they're all included in here. All the proposals that departments have had that came through Questica are included in here for you to see. And you can see there are some proposals that she supports right now. She recognizes the need. And then there are some proposals that she is still considering, needs more information on, much as what you do. And then there's some proposals that she would like to consider from a longer-term perspective. They're not quite ready for now for one reason or another.
Can I ask a, so I'm thinking, when you were talking about new positions, and I started thinking about employees who are getting out of grade pay. And there used to be quite a number of them. So my question is there a way to download that information to see how much is being spent on out-of-grade pay?
We could do some analysis on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know we look at positions and you look at, step 1 to step 6, and you think, okay, well, I get why this is a step 6 and I get this salary, and then you realize, but they're beyond that and they're being paid out of grade. You don't really necessarily know why. And I know it used to be a big issue, and I'm just curious if that's toned down a little bit.
We could look at in historical how it's been used.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of reasons why departments, and it would give us some time when we can get some more information of why are departments doing out of grade.
Right.
I only know from my own department, I can speak to that, but I think it's more relevant for you to understand overall.
Right, and I think there was a limit. It was 2 years you could be paid out of grade, and I know in the past we've had people 4 and 5 years being paid out of grade. And so I don't know what the numbers are, but it might be interesting to look to see what we're dealing with as far
Okay.
as budget.
Councilmember Kinnear.
Thanks. So Tanya, we've got 200-plus vacancies right now. So the new positions that you're talking about, are those positions that in addition to the ones that are vacant? So we're adding to those positions?
Yes, Councilmember Kinnear, most of the positions that I believe the mayor might be proposing are in other funds, not the general fund. But yes, as departments are trying very hard to fill even the vacant positions, there is also need in some areas to add more positions than what they currently have.
And so as a follow-up, we have had some of those positions vacant for months and months and months or years. Is there any analysis being done as to whether we really need those positions that have been vacant that long? We've done without them for this amount of time. So what is the analysis on if they're really needed, or if we're just going to keep these as placeholders? What are we looking at here?
We will happily make sure all of you get the report of the analysis that we've already done, where we did specifically request that information from the departments. Also asking them what's the status of it, of the position, where are we in the field process? Because a vacancy report just is going to report, is it vacant or filled?
Right.
Not really understanding like, oh, they're waiting on a test for civil service, or no, they're in the interview process. So we do have a report like that with the analysis. It did take some time to do, but we'll happily share that with you.
And Councilmember Kinnear, I'll have to piggyback that because we've seen a number of SBOs that have come through for various items out of salary savings. And so we have one coming before us for vehicles. So it's like, I don't want to spend a person's salary on a piece of equipment, especially if that position is going to be filled or it should roll back into the general fund. So that's just been elevated over the last few months of salary savings being used in other ways other than on people to get the work done.
Yes, I will say that in the preliminary estimates, one of the things we have done because of the analysis on vacancies and understanding that it's been a uncommonly harder time filling certain positions for sure, that the vacancy discount, right now we're running at around 10% on a vacancy rate, but we've increased it to assume about a 4.5%. And as Cathcart, as I was talking to you to earlier today, yes, as interest rates go up, unemployment and the balancing unemployment is intended to go up, which might make it more attractive for people to come to the city. But we're assuming a 4.5%, which is more aggressive than what city has done. One of the other things that we've changed in the budget, usually that contra account that you've heard of, the contra salary, contra benefits account, we've kept that in non-departmental, which means it's out of the eyes of departments. But now, for 23, we've actually allocated that out into the departments, so they're aware that they also have to manage positions carefully.
Yeah, and this might be something more for the city administrator, but I think one thing that would be really helpful would be a multi-year outlook from each department that has assets that need to be updated, replaced, et cetera, with some sort of just a timeline calendar of, because we get this, I think, more from SPD than anyone else, but I think every department is somewhat guilty of it. But, suddenly it's, we need this and we need it now, but it was never on a list a month ago or 6 months ago or a year ago. And so I just think if we could get a 1 or a 3 year, just outlook of, okay, engineering has these vehicles and they're going to have them replaced. SPD is going to have to buy, these tools, these vehicles, whatever it is, but just an outlay that we can look at, and then so that we're not surprised when there are the potential for SBOs or requests for changes to the budget that we hadn't anticipated. So that'd be helpful for me.
Okay.
Councilmember Zaponda, I'll let Tanya finish
Oh.
because we had a full day.
Yeah, just quick clarification. So you're saying that there are no new positions, or with no new positions, we're running a deficit of $4.5 million projected, right?
That's with current staffing in the general fund.
Oh, wait, but then we're also potentially going, Mayor's asking to add more positions on top of that?
Those would be in other funds, not within the general fund,
Other funds?
like utilities
okay.
or streets. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
And regarding labor costs, yes, all the labor costs that we're aware of that have been negotiated are assumed into the budget. And if they're not known, we have made assumptions of those increases also based on how the other contracts have gone. So if the other contracts, as you are aware, have been a little more aggressive than our typical guide, so we've assumed a little more aggressive increases at the position level. Okay, general fund, there's been a lot of discussion about this. So there is a link if you go to Fund Balance Guidelines on general fund at GFOA, which is Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. You can find a lot of this information as well. There are 5 categories under GAAP accounting. So 5 categories. The top 2 are considered restricted. So non-spendable, that's our inventory. It's usually very small, particularly in the general fund. We don't carry a lot of inventory. Restricted, those are federal and state grants. What it means really by restricted, besides not spendable, obviously is restricted. We can't spend it, it's not a resource. But with state and federal grants, that means you, as the legislative body for the city, you don't have the power to change that. The other categories, even though we say committed, assigned, and unassigned, and you have placed your own restrictions, you, as the city's legislative body, also have the power to change that. So it's not quite as restricted as our federal or our state grants. So when folks are looking at restricted versus non-restricted, those are the real categories. They will sum up our encumbrances, revenue stabilization reserve, our contingency reserve, and our unappropriated reserve as total unrestricted balance. You look at that total unrestricted, and typically the GFOA recommendation is that total should equal some percent, and their best practice is about 2 months' worth of operating, or 16.6% of operating costs. Now, I just want to say that when it comes to best practice and you look at what GFOA looks at, that is a best practice. There's a reason why they don't have it as more of a policy statement and just encourage you to set a policy. And that's because every district or every city, every county might have a slightly different operation. Their revenues might be more turbulent or more stable. Their expenditures might be more volatile or more stable. It really depends on the jurisdiction and what your revenue sources are and what happens with your expenditures. You take a fire district, for example, their number one, probably 90% of their revenue are property tax. Property tax comes in 2 installments every year. So the terms of their cash flow is like this. The city, on the other hand, we get property tax, but that's about 1/3, a little bit less than 1/3 of our total portfolio. We get sales tax every month. We get utility tax every month. We're a little more stable. So some places have a 5%, some places have 10%, some have 15%. For a city of our size, I would not recommend more than 15 just because of the construct of our revenue and expenditure flow. We have been very good with what we have.
So it's my understanding that the reserves are also part of what we use for our bond rating. And we don't want a C or a B bond rating. So I am concerned that we may be headed that direction if we don't protect our reserves. If we keep dipping into them and they keep going down, that volatility also is an indicator that perhaps we're not being good stewards of our budget, our funding. And so I want to just make sure that we're all aware of bond rating and what that can do for a city, especially a city our size.
And yes, Councilmember Kinnear, it does play an important factor in our bond rating, and we do have a very good bond rating right now. We also have a lot of other really great things that factor into that bond rating: our general economy, our growth. They'll look at income levels. And I know that Ms. Murray has also presented to you one of the other very critical and high-ranking factors of our bond rating is our overall financial management. Well, we just closed an audit for 21, 5th year in a row with no findings. That is substantial. That factors in as much or more than our reserves. It's just our overall financial management, which based on that audit proves that we are doing a very good job, even through a pandemic. Even through 2020, through 21, we are doing a good job. And we do have contingency reserves, which we haven't used. We haven't used revenue stabilization, but that's exactly why you establish those reserves. And yet, through the pandemic, we haven't used them yet. Through a mudslide, we didn't use them. Through a windstorm, we haven't used them. So yes, we did build those up, and unappropriated fund balance did get built up, largely in part to 5 years of a guild contract not getting settled. And then we did retro pay. Had it been settled timely, the reserves would not have been built up that much, because when we settled on the retro, that was $10 million.
Well, that was deliberate, just saying. We squirreled that money away because we anticipated.
It was squirreled away in that unappropriated
Exactly.
fund balance.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was part of it. So yeah, we did. We knew what we were doing. It has been accumulated. It has been very good, but it's still there. Even 2 years post-pandemic, it's still there.
Tanya, what is our what's the percentage of our general fund that the revenue stabilization and the contingency combined equal? Is it close to that 16%? Just those
It's
two?
about 13.5.
13.5. So what would be the amount that we would need to increase if we wanted it to meet that best practice? What would be the amount that we would need to increase those two reserves?
Off
Like
the
3 to
top
5
of my
million?
head, it would be probably around the $5 million mark.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Last question, Tanya's going to finish, and then please keep your personal meetings with her for additional questions. Councilmember Bingle.
And so you said you wouldn't recommend more than 15% for a city our size. What would be like your minimum? It would be best for us to be within this range.
Thank you. My recommendation would be always stay within a 10 to 15% range. If we dip below 10%, like with any policy, you would want to have a plan of how does that get replenished within a 3-year period.
And so 10 to 15%, 13.5 would actually put us in the higher range of what your recommendation would be.
We're within the recommended range, yes.
Are you just chomping at the bit, Council
I
President?
am. If you went back to your first slide, I think I was trying to see if it was in the packet and it wasn't, so I didn't say anything then. But the graph of 2020, yeah. Sorry, one more. I mean, the 2022 projected actual 2023. So it was, yeah. So you had said those items 28 to 32 are in the projected 23. They're just not listed down below?
Correct.
Okay, and so are they listed out in there? And so those expenses are all there. When you come up with that 5 million or so projected balance at the end of 2023, that's all those things have been paid
They're assumed up there, yes.
and paid by. Okay, so they're there. So your projection at the end of 23 is that there's, and I can't quite read that. Is it 5.9 or is it 5.9 million fund unallocated reserves at the end of 2022?
Yes, this was done about 6 weeks ago,
Okay.
about 4 to 6
So it
weeks
could-
ago. So,
okay.
yeah, and that was projected on those costs based on how we've historically been spending.
Okay. Because later on in that packet that you'd sent that's not here, it had different numbers at different places in it. And I'm just wondering, are you planning on kind of truing those up and sending that back to us? Or
Thank you, Council President. Yes, there is a slight difference. When we put in a beginning fund balance for the estimates, we do that at the beginning of August. So really, it's a matter of timing
Okay.
of when this happens and that happens. But at the end of the year, we could reasonably have between 4 and 6 million of fund balance left. It's really going to depend on how these next few months
okay.
roll
All right.
out.
Thank you.
All right, Tanya, I'm gonna have you power through.
I only have one slide, the last slide. So yeah, as we go into 23, this is there is a transformation that is taking place. This is a post-pandemic. When I look at all of your faces, and I know myself, I wasn't here with the last pandemic. I don't know really how it's, I really don't know how it's going to play out. But I do know that we have a lot of great things that we need to work on, as scary as this time is. And I would kind of reference it as we're driving a new road that we haven't driven before in the dark. We got our headlights on. We can see 50 feet in front of us, but we can't see much further than that. None of us have been in this type of situation. This recession, if it does turn into a recession, is going to be unlike any other recession that we've had in the past. So we can't simply look at the past recessions and predict based on that. This is unlike anything else that we've ever had. But you can see our neighborhoods are starting to thrive in different ways, but they look different. They do look different. We still have a lot of housing work to do, but you have allocated $10 million to start battling that. It's going to take a little time for that to play out. The events this summer, record attendance. Even with all of the inflation and everything that has been going on in the news, we still had record attendance at a lot of our events. Now, hopefully in another month or two, we're going to see what the outcome of that was on sales tax. North Bank is thriving and transforming as well. This is a very key destination for our sporting events. And then you can see how we serve vulnerable in our community is going to transform. It has transformed already in the last 2 years with additional shelters and the new Regional Stabilization Center. So a lot of things are changing. A lot of transformation is happening. And so with that, Council, I look forward to 2023.
Thank you, Tanya. Again, I encourage you all to keep your meetings with the Chief Financial Officer. Thank you. Next, we are going to have our budget resolution, and Council President Beggs, you want to walk us through that? Remember, you're on a clock.
Well, as a start, I will commend you to Councilmember Cathcart's proposed amendment to it, that version that was circulated that
Can you
fits.
read it out loud? I haven't had time to read it.
Sure. So then I'm going to I'll come back to it and I will read it out loud. But last year, the way we did the budget process is we spent October having meetings, full council meetings with administration and staff. We went over several areas of the preliminary budget, and we gave our feedback and verbally, and then at the end of it, I wrote up a summary of it and sent that in. And then we got the final budget. It didn't seem to reflect very much of the feedback. And the feedback I got from the administration was, well, you didn't do a vote with council to say that you really thought that. So this year, our budget work group, which is council members Wilkerson, Cathcart, myself, we came up with this resolution as feedback to the preliminary budget to say this is what we're looking for in the final proposed budget. And final is a little bit of a misnomer because that's before we amend it, but it's the final proposal from the mayor's office. So we came up with several things. We wanted to, again, most of these things we've been talking about all year or even before this year, but one was not to include one-time American Rescue Plan Act funds in the budget. We have a very specific process for looking at those one-time expenditures that's outside the budget process. I'm going to skip 2 for a moment and come and because it has the amendment. But 3 was we really want to make sure that any requested public safety capital that's going to come to us in 2023 is in the 2023 budget, so that we don't hear what we did a lot this year, which was, oh, administration told us we had to ask for this now as an SBO. And so we want to get not that we're never going to have an SBO next year, but if those are anticipated, get them into the 2023 budget, figure out the funding source now. So number 4 is very related. It's let's put together the longer-term public safety capital financing plan. We had one. It was working pretty well. The city went away from it in the last couple of years, and a lot of the angst from the public safety leadership is that they don't know where they're going to get their vehicles and other things funded. So let's get that, and it'd be good to do it now so that we can have a 2023 budget that matches the plan instead of coming up with a plan for just 2023 and then trying to figure out a longer-term plan. Number 5 is there's some requests from the administration to use some further ARPA allocations as revenue replacement, and we're suggesting from the budget work group that we tie them to permanent cuts in vacant positions for 2023 so that you get a double for your bang for your buck is the thing. Okay, we can use one-time ARPA funds, but it's not because we're covering ongoing expenses. We're actually going to remove a position and ideally one that's currently vacant. And then we also wanted to just formalize contra account freezes. So right now, what we've been seeing is that people come to us saying, hey, we had all the salary savings, but they want to use it for something else. So it's not really a salary saving anymore. So it's like, no, let's freeze those so that people don't come to us with that argument again.
And Councilmember Cathcart has his if available to read it out. Who asked?
Well, I'm not quite.
Oh, you're not quite that? Okay.
We got more. We were working hard.
I know we have.
You as well. We wanted to, again, go back towards a healthier unassigned reserve balance of 10 to 15% in the general fund. And then we're also asking, similar to the public safety, not to bring new spending by special budget ordinances until Q3 of 2023, unless there's an income. If you get a grant, of course, that's great. But last year, not long after the budget was passed, all the compromises and prioritization, we were suddenly getting actual SBOs to change spending. And again, they could have been anticipated. Perhaps they were anticipated. And we just want to get them all on the table in the budget prioritization process. And then if you go to, and I'll let Councilmember Cathcart read it, what it says right now is contains at least a 10% reduction in general fund expenses. But I'll let you go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So, and this was an amendment that I offered this morning. So, contains at least 10% reduction in general fund expenses or clearly identifies in the budget narrative an estimated equal level of cost savings through proposed budget reform initiatives and waste reduction plans to be completed no later than Q2 of 2023 and considered in a mid-year supplemental budget.
Councilmember Canair.
So, Mr. Cathcart, I'm not understanding the difference. I mean, you're still asking for that identification of reduction. The only thing different is you've put a timeline on it. Is that correct?
Yeah, and just, this was kind of offered as an attempt, I guess, at a compromise, knowing that one of the big things we've heard from the administration is just how much time it will take them to put in a thoughtful effort to look at some of these, and there may be some opportunities to implement some reforms that are going to take a little bit of time that would reduce costs in the budget. And so this was an idea that, you know, if we can come back mid-year next year after some studies or deeper dives have been done, then we can make some of those thoughtful decisions at that point in time if we can't get there before this budget cycle. So it's an attempt at a compromise.
Okay, because I remember you saying you were adamant that you were going for 15, as I recall. So,
Yeah, I absolutely. And I still firmly believe that we need to find those cost reductions, but I'm just trying to be realistic and finding a path that we can kind of all get there together.
So
Councilmember Stratton.
listening to you say that, so I'm looking at comments from the CFO regarding this resolution. Have these been discussed, and is this what the compromise you're talking about on some of her points that she brings up?
I wouldn't say it's an exact, they didn't ask for this change. This was a change that I offered, but I felt like it would kind of somewhat meet halfway where they were trying to
Okay.
go and where we were trying to go. But
Has
it
there-
was an idea.
Has there been a meeting to discuss CFO's position points?
No, I think we're working on scheduling a meeting.
Okay.
But
Okay.
So I'll comment, I appreciate Councilmember Cathcart's amendment. I have to say, a lot of stuff that's in the amendments, we've been asking for all year long. And then to say that staffing's been an issue for every single department, including ours, with the workload to accomplish this. And we had really requested back in July to really closely partner with them and engage in these conversations and to meet as we develop this budget. And I do want it to be collaborative, but again, here we are, I feel like the bottom of the ninth. Budget's due within weeks, and we're like not very far off of first base. So it has been a frustrating process at best.
maybe even the 18th inning, bottom of the 18th.
Oh, we could go 18. Let's not, but we could. So, any other comments around the resolution? And again, we will be meeting with the administration, so we have time to engage and
But
revise.
is this
or
on our
update.
agenda tonight?
No.
Yeah,
It
the
is?
resolution is.
The resolution, yeah.
How are we going to, okay. That
It's
seems
just
a
a
little,
resolution.
all right.
I believe it needs a rule suspension.
It would, yeah, it'll take 5 votes to suspend the rules.
Councilmember Wilkerson, that you, Cathcart, and Beggs are sponsoring that?
Yes. Great. Well, more discussion to come this afternoon. Jessica's going to give us our quarterly report. And then after that, we'll have our quarterly investment strategy. Nothing like being broke to kind of take the air out of the room, huh?
All right, good afternoon, council. Let's see. Okay, so I am presenting the quarterly financial report for the third quarter today. Okay, as per usual, the report is separated into these 4 sections: the general fund year-to-date performance, General fund reserve summary, our rotating special report, which this quarter happens to be ARPA, and then some economic indicators. So far this year, the general fund is performing well. Year-to-date revenue is projected of budget, while expenses are projected basically at budget. Salaries and benefits are about 1.45% below year-to-date projections and are estimated to be about $1 million under budget by the end of the year. Unfortunately, police and fire overtime is considerably over budget, and SBOs will be presented at the Public Safety Committee on November 7th. Are there questions there? Okay. Section 2 reports on the general fund unappropriated fund balance and reserves, which Tanya basically just went over. You'll see the unappropriated fund balance is calculated to be $12.2 million at the end of third quarter. Retro pay SBOs related to the 4 collective bargaining agreements will be presented to council between the next 2 committees, starting with 270 at PIES next Monday. They total about $11.3 million, with fire being the most, as expected. With the about almost $2 million in the 2022 budget already, that means that we're still on about target with that $9 million that Tanya had estimated. Section 3, again, is just a brief overview of the status of ARPA, which I feel like you know more than anybody else. And that basically states, of the $81 million awarded to the city, $13.5 million is still unallocated. And then Section 4 is the economic indicators. It shows unemployment is relatively stable at around 4.5%. And it also shows that taxable sales growth for, when you just look at the period that is July, which is our latest reporting period, they increased 2.46% year over year. However, when you include their prior period adjustments that the Department of Revenue gets, sales tax growth is still healthy at about 5.8%. Okay, I blazed through that in the interest of time. Are there any questions?
Any questions? You know we'll see you next month.
You'll see me in a little bit, actually.
Okay, that's right. You're right. You're coming back
Yeah.
before the day's over. Thank you, Jessica. So next, we're going to be talking about adopting quarterly investment report. We want to forget you guys. Chris and Connor, or just Chris today. Welcome.
I can change the format on there.
Yes,
for you.
please. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, Council. I'm Chris Johnson. I'm the City Deputy Treasurer, and I just want to appreciate you giving me the time to give you the quarterly investment report for the third quarter. So, we're going to go over a few items today, and we'll start with a brief overview of cash flows and how that impacts the cash pool types within the city's liquidity. And then review the portfolio balance and positions, its performance, and the overall strategic focus going into the fourth quarter and into 2023. So cash flow starts with an inflow or an outflow of cash. So you either have cash coming in through cash-based revenues, or you have cash going out, cash-based expenses, and those create combined a net cash flow. And that net cash flow can be a surplus where revenues exceed expenses, or it can be a deficit where expenses exceed revenues. Plus or minus, that impacts the overall operational cash pool of the city, which is held in the city's bank account. And right now, the Finance Division has a floor put on that bank account at $10 million, in which case, if the bank account dips below the $10 million, we draw upon Treasury-based cash pool held in the local government investment pool with the state treasurer's office and replenish that account back to the $10 million floor. If the $10 million is exceeded by, let's say, $100,000, we push that money into the treasury cash pool in order to earn a greater rate of return. So really, the operational cash pool and the treasury cash pool kind of ebb and flow with one another, and they're derived based on the net cash flow from daily activities within the city. The treasury cash pool acts as an emergency reserve. So if the city were to encumber, let's say, an emergency need of like $20 million for whatever unforeseen instance, we could draw upon the treasury cash pool and have that cash in the city operational pool overnight. It should also be known, whether it's the operational pool, the treasury pool, or even the investment portfolio of the city, it is collectively owned by all city funds. Okay. So at the end of the third quarter, the city had a balance of a little less than $440 million in current cash and investment balances. And that's just a slight decline from the second quarter. So on a seasonal basis, there is a normal actual decline from Q2 to Q3. It normally averages about a 6% slide, and in this instance, we had about a 5% decline, so a little less than average. But that does relate to probably some expenses exceeding revenues, as well as the interest rate environment where rates are going up, and that is depressing some of the market-based values of our investment holdings. This thing. Okay. Go. Okay. So moving to the portfolio composition, we did have numerous purchases during the third quarter in which we brought on new positions within the portfolio. We deployed a little over $109 million. 68% of that was in the form of federal agency debt, your Fannie Mae, your Freddie Mac, your FHLB. And then 32% was related to municipal-based debt. Collectively, they had an average coupon rate of a little less than 2%. They had a yield to maturity rate of a little over 3.25, and a maturity on a collective purchase scale of a little less than 4.5 years. So off to the right here, you can see a table. It shows the issuers that were purchased. Alameda County of California, California itself, and Washington State represented the municipal debt purchase. The Federal Farm Credit Bank, FHLB, and Fannie Mae were the federal agency debt that was purchased. As to the composition and where the portfolio currently stands at the end of the third quarter, you can see 69% of the portfolio is comprised of federal agency security debt. So that's your Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, things like that. Followed by the most liquid position in the city, which is the treasury pool itself held by the LGIP. So to the right, again, is another table in which shows the issuers that we have within the portfolio itself. And then the maximum column is the maximum allowability that we can have in terms of percentage base of the portfolio based on city investment policy. And then the actual column represents what we actually do have. And then the policy result shows whether we are in compliance with that policy or not. And I figured the council would like to know we are in compliance.
Thank you.
And as to the portfolio's liquidity, if you take the vertical hash line and follow the arrow to the left, that shows the degree in which we are going to be getting our money back from those investment positions. So right now, about 47% of the portfolio is due back in city hands or to the treasury pool within at least less than 24 months. And then 53% of that portfolio extends beyond 24 months on out. So that's what I mean by liquidity in terms of when we're going to get the investment money back as those investments mature. As to the portfolio performance in relation to its benchmark, we have an $8.4 million unrealized loss. So that is a complete paper loss. It is not real unless you were to liquidate the positions that have those losses, and then you would realize them. But given the rate of interest that has gone up in the markets, we have some positions that are quite old and that were purchased in lower rate environments. They have losses attributed to them. We have no intention of liquidating them because we are a hold to maturity investor. So as the portfolio goes through time, those losses become closer and closer to zero to when those maturities do happen, we don't have a loss. Our average maturity is a little over 2.5 years, which based on our benchmark is a little over the outer year limit of 2, but nothing to really be concerned about. The yield to maturity is 2.08%, which is significantly lower than what our benchmark is. But given our benchmark is the market for 1 to 2 year treasuries, it's kind of hard for a hold to maturity investment portfolio that has to be patient for balances to roll off to meet that benchmark. It's kind of like turning a battleship on a dime. So it's a challenge, but we just have to kind of be patient. And just to kind of illustrate that graphically, as you can see, our portfolio before the beginning of 2022 was exceeding our benchmark quite handily. But when the Fed started making its maneuvers to combat inflation, you can see that we were eclipsed and it started to go up rather significantly. But given the third quarter purchases that were made, you can see that those were done at higher yields to maturity, and therefore our portfolio is starting to trend back upward. So it looks good from here. As for our strategic focus for Q4 and the rest of 2023, at the end of the third quarter, we had $76.5 million in unspent ARPA cash. So it is the Treasury's position and finance to make sure that we have the cash on hand to be able to deploy that money. And therefore, we are going to meet that with the liquidity as that deployment happens. So we'll have that declining balance as we do that. And then backfill that with additional cash so that when ARPA is spent, we still have liquidity. And we're going to do that by taking our portfolio as money comes back into us over the next 12 months or so and ladder that out in a way in which we have consistent maturity and therefore we have the consistent return of investment roll-off. And that does two things for the city. That brings a high degree of ability to plan and to be flexible when operational need mandates such. And it also brings about an ability to be opportunistic when markets present good, solid rates to put money to work in. So it's always nice to have cash on hand. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you.
Now we're going to go to the ordinance adopting the redistricting plan. It'll be briefed by Mr. Piccolo. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I believe Hannah Lee had asked me to present this one because she's out this week. So the redistricting board had their meeting on October 4th where they adopted their recommendation out of 4 submitted plans that were being discussed for public comment. That recommendation being forwarded to the city council. The next step would be for the council to adopt the ordinance adopting the redistricting plan, which then moves that population distribution that came to us from the last federal census to make the districts as equal as possible. The ordinance calls for a public hearing on October 24th. That hearing will be continued to November 7th, at which point the plan is for the council to adopt the map. If there are amendments to that proposed recommended map, then we'll have to schedule one more hearing on November 14th, which is the last day to approve the plan and get it over to the county. We have the deadline of November 15th. So right now the plan is to have the 2 hearings, October 24th and then November 7th. Yes.
Yeah, are there, other than what's in our charter for the redistricting process, are there RCWs specifically that we have to fall under and follow with regards to the process, amendments, et cetera?
Yes. So the reason we're doing this is because state law provides that once the federal data is provided to cities from the state for the census, then any city or county that has districts have to review those boundaries to adjust the population. And we have to do that by a certain date. So that's required by state law. And there are criteria set out on how the numbers can be apportioned between your districts.
But in terms of the rules that surround the process, my understanding is the county process didn't exactly have to follow some of the same rules that the state process had to follow. are we required to follow any of those same rules, or are we kind of largely outside of that like the county was?
Well, we have a little bit of direction from our own city charter, but again, we are following the requirements from state law. The requirements that I'm familiar with are the criteria of how you divide the population.
Well, in terms of the activities of the participants, of the committee, et cetera, I know there's strict rules around that at the state level. But again, the county seems to have been able to avoid a lot of those rules, and so I'm just wondering if.
I think we're in the same position, because I'm not familiar with any strict rules on how we're supposed to conduct that review. It just says, if you have districts, then you have to examine those boundaries based upon the federal census and the criteria by state law.
And then, what would be the process? You mentioned the November 14th would be kind of like a drop dead date. So what would be the process then if there is litigation because we decide to make changes to this map? What would then be the timeline process at that point? When would somebody have to intervene in order to legally challenge? Do you know?
I do not. The city's responsibility is to deliver that plan to the county auditor's office by November 15th. What happens after that would be up to the litigants. They'd have to go to court and get restraining orders and that action.
But they wouldn't have to do that prior to us adopting it. They could do it after, you believe?
I could not give those entities legal advice to that nature.
I'm just trying to get a sense of the timeline.
Yeah, I have not
that we're all
examined that. Parties can always go to court, try to get a restraining order to stop an action from happening.
I know there's a lot of interest. I've heard from a number of folks wanting to litigate over potential changes that this council may make. And so I just want to make sure the public understands that there could be a lot of issues here, so.
I have not heard of any issues.
Okay.
Councilmember Kinnear.
So I haven't either. I'm just wondering, can you share more of your intel, Councilmember Cathcart? But
No,
based on,
it's speculation is what it is. But if the council makes changes, I know there's folks wanting to litigate, and that's my question in terms of timeline.
what changes? Any changes?
I have no idea. I haven't seen any amendments, so I don't know. I'm just telling you what
It's
people
all
are asking.
very mysterious. Okay.
I mean, if there's no plan changes, then there's nothing to even discuss, so.
So can I ask a quick?
Yes.
So we're starting to get comments from some of our neighborhoods, and we have one in particular that's working on a petition. So when we talk to them, do we tell them to come down to the hearing on October 24th? Is that where they should be voicing their opinions, is during that hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
And where should the petition be sent to if they're giving written comment?
Yeah, I think a petition in this case is just a statement signed by a number of citizens. It's not an initiative, and that can be submitted to the city clerk's office or directly to the council, and I think the council would then deliver to the city clerk's office just for the legislative record.
Thanks.
Council.
Just trying to get clear if, in terms of the hearing requirements, if the city council was considering amendments, like Councilmember Caspar is hearing, would that have to be made on the 24th, or could they be made on the 7th?
I'm recommending that it be made on the 24th so we can prepare that map and get it out to the public so they can come back on the 7th and make comments to that so they know what they're commenting on.
But then there would be another hearing on the 14th, too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just one more.
Yes,
So
Councilman.
when you're saying amendments, there are 4 maps, and there was a recommendation. If we decide to go with a map that wasn't recommended, is that considered an amendment?
Yes, so you are now down to one map, the recommended map from the board. So they had, I believe they have 4 maps to look at, and they chose one to recommend to the city council. So that's the map.
So that's the map, and if we choose another map, then that is considered an amendment.
Yes.
All right.
So we want to make sure we can get that amended proposed district map to the public so they can comment on that on November 7th.
Because what you're amending is the ordinance that is incorporating that map. So the amendment is not to the map, it's to the ordinance, an exhibit to the ordinance, essentially.
Correct, yes.
Okay, got it.
And so, Mr. Piccolo, was the survey limited to just Spokane residents, or was it open? How did they identify that they were Spokane residents when they were voting on the map?
The board members or the
board
public?
members, citizens' input?
Yeah, this is where I wish Anna Lee was here because she could answer that question. So there were a number of different surveys done to, just to give information to the board members.
And I guess that was my question. Did we have any way to identify were those actually Spokane residents or just people who commented, gave input on the maps?
Yeah, my recollection from the hearing is that the survey was open to anybody, and there was no way to track whether or not they lived within the city, outside the city, where they commented twice.
Okay, that was my
I
other
think
question.
that might be true for a lot of surveys.
So, not sure if they're in the city, don't know how many times somebody could have voted or commented on the maps that was being presented.
I believe that's correct.
Were there any petitions submitted during the actual process from neighborhoods like we're hearing about now that the process is completed?
Not that I recall, but Hannah Lee could say for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't recall seeing that at the meetings.
All right. And I believe.
I don't think so. There were, some of the commissioners went to neighborhood council meetings and brought back feedback, verbal feedback, but I don't believe there were any petitions.
Right. And so with that online survey, we actually have no demographics of, when we can ask.
I don't believe so.
You don't believe so? Okay, so. All right, any more questions for Mr. Piccolo?
Well, I would just, one last comment.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think the whole intention, right, of the redistricting commission or whatever council, whatever we call it, was to be that public engagement arm of this, right? We don't have the time, given November 14th is our limited date, to go out and really, truly solicit real feedback from folks and make thoughtful potential changes. So I think, we have to rely upon the public engagement that group really initially did and what the outreach was by them and to them, correct?
Correct, and there were a good number of meetings, both, all the meetings were in person with remote access, and there was noticeable community outreach that was discussed with the board members of how to increase that community outreach.
I was just at a meeting last week, and they were like, we just want our neighborhood to stay together. So, all right, October 24th, if all those who have zoomed in, please, show up or log on and make your comments known. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I'm confirming that Council President Beggs and Council Members Zepone, sponsors.
Okay, thank you. Contractual service, Dusty. Thank you. Got to keep it short, Dusty, if you can.
Make it short as you let me. Good afternoon, Council. I'm Dusty Frederickson from the City Project Management Office. I think we have it's gone through committee before, and it's been a first reading, but we have an SBO to leverage some PMO office salary savings on a Volt contract to augment our staff. The funding source would be the Criminal Justice Assistance Fund in order to facilitate the community safety initiative that's currently going on right now with members from our courts and SPD and fire and different public safety oriented organizations. The purpose of that committee is to identify different problem areas that we have, whether it's failures to appear, challenges we have with jail capacity, and come up with projects that we can implement operationally to combat some of those challenges that we have. So we have staffed a project manager who's been with us since July to work 100% full-time on this in order to get it to a point where we have things that are informed business cases for projects we want to execute, so informed decisions can be made. That was a key lesson learned from the last time we did this under the previous administration. We didn't staff it with that level of project management, and basically we ran it for 2 years and didn't really walk away with much. So we wanted to make sure that we invested enough resources, enough of the right resources to make sure we got results that that aligned with what we wanted to accomplish. So that's kind of where we're at, and that's the background.
Councilman Kinnear.
Have you double-checked to make sure that there is enough money in that fund, that it's not been depleted elsewhere, because we're getting a lot of requests and people are saying, well, we're going to use this. I don't think anybody's keeping track of all the requests.
Tanya is shaking her head yes.
You mean nodding yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just making sure. And has there been any exploration as to just doing a project employee instead of?
That wasn't our initial, speed, time to market was our initial concern with getting someone in sooner than later.
Okay.
And we know we wanted a senior level because this is not an easy area to navigate. Stakeholders can be a little challenging, so we wanted somebody senior
Dusty,
level.
could you speak into the microphone?
Yes,
I think
sorry.
that'll help.
We wanted somebody senior level, and just so happens we had somebody in that fit that bill, Veronica, who was already working with CHHS, so we were able to roll her into the role very quickly. I think if we were to get to a point where we wanted to make a shift, she's actually starting to wind down now. She's gotten the ideas have been generated. They've gone through ranking with each of the breakout groups, so they know which ones are most important and have the best chance of outcomes. And they're moving that into business case development. So I'm estimating by the end of October, we should have a lot of the work done that we need a full-time project manager for. And that would be developing those business cases so that whoever needs to make the decisions can make a good informed decision if this is something we want to invest on. One example would be implementing kiosks at certain locations that folks can make their court appearances through, so we reduce our FTA rate. Another example is expanding our electric home monitoring program in order to get the level of supervision we need, knowing that we don't have a jail to help us out with that necessarily. So there are some things coming to the forefront that I think folks are excited about, but it comes down to the cost benefit. If we do that and it costs this much, does it make sense?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Dusty. I think we're good.
Madam
Linda?
Chair, confirming again, I think Councilmember Cathcart and Beggs, sponsors.
We are,
Yeah.
I think we are previously sponsored it, so.
Okay.
I mean, this is just, I'm not sure I support it, but I sponsor
Sponsor got it in
Sponsor
committee.
to move it forward.
Got it in
it.
committee.
No, it's still, I mean,
Yeah.
it,
Lyndon?
we'll still have a vote on it.
I'm sorry, Lyndon. Dan Bueller's out there somewhere. He has a few minutes. Just
problem, no problem.
Dan, are you out there online? He's going to give us a couple of minutes about vehicle acquisitions from salary savings.
I
Do you
don't
see
see him
him?
up on the board.
I don't see him on
I
there.
thought something lit up there.
No? None of us can see him. In that case, Lyndon, coming on. If he should join us before the meeting's over, we'll bring him up. Thank you. Sorry about that. Interpreter services and janitorial services. Why don't you do both?
Good afternoon, Council, and thank you, Council Member Wilkerson, for having us. Justin Bingham, the City Prosecutor. And so this is for the City Prosecutor's Office. These are not additional funds we're asking for. These are transfers. The first one on interpreter's fees. So we budget interpreter's fees out of the City Prosecutor's Office. We've worked with Tanya. We're going to be changing that for next year. That's a good idea because we fall short every single year. We project about 60,000 every year, and we regularly go into 80,000 and sometimes more. So this is money that we received from AOC, Office of the Administration for Courts. It's $6,000. We kind of know that we're going to get this every year, so we're asking to transfer that from that fund back into the prosecutor's office, just so we make budget, basically.
If I could clarify.
Please.
We do not know that we're going to get this again. This was a one-time event that AOC did to see what would work and what wouldn't. What we found statewide are that a lot of interpreters are not court certified. AOC is trying to bring them into the fold, and strangely enough, not everybody wanted to participate. So they would actually provide a large amount of money back to us if we were able to get people to participate in this program. We were able to account for $6,620 worth of interpreter funds. Last year, I think our overall spend was $82,000 in interpreter funds. So we are going over, and I really appreciate finance looking at a different solution because it's been a real struggle for us. This money that we got back from AOC went directly to the city. And so in order for us to make it at least as balanced as we can, we just need it transferred from the city account into our interpreter account. So that's the basis for this first SBO. And I apologize because Lyndon, you probably know he's slightly busy right now, and he's been doing a lot of work, and we appreciate the work he does to support our office. We are looking for a second sponsor. I appreciate Councilperson Bingle being our sponsor on this. And I see a hand from Councilperson Cathcart, so thank you very much for that. This is a really complicated area with interpreters because of the constitutional requirements. And so we can't really not do this. This is a part of our obligations.
Is there a set amount each year that we kind of put into that interpreter line item?
So we, this last year, we had about $42,000 in that line item because that's what we assume it would be. I think we've historically, it's gone up every year. What we're seeing is that this number doesn't go down. When I first started as city prosecutor 8 years ago, the number was very, very low. And what we've seen over time is it continues to go up. We are expecting it to be around that $80,000 mark this year again. And we're moving money around to ensure that we can meet that. But next year, that's where the administration, I think, has really stepped up to look at a different solution that's more based on reality, and it also assists the court in doing it in one single function. So my office isn't doing the back-end accounting, the court's doing the front-end scheduling, and then we're having all of these melds of money coming in and out to make everything even up. I think it's better from an accounting standpoint as well as from an operational standpoint. And so after years of asking, I really do appreciate Tanya stepping up and saying, yeah, this is a better way to do it. It was one of those no-brainers that Dusty helped us come up with. And so, but to get us through this year, while I can find the money in my budget from salary savings and other things to get us across the finish line, next year we're not going to have to come back and have this conversation. I think that's what I got from the gist of the conversation today, is you want us to get up and find solutions so the council doesn't have to come in and listen to people like me talk.
Okay. Councilmember Bingle.
Yeah, so as our number continues to go up, is that because we have more interpreters? Are we needing their services more often? Are we paying them more? What is the reason for
There's two real big issues. One is we have more people here that require interpreter services. And then secondarily, we've had a change in how interpreters are billing us. Historically here in Eastern Washington, we were charged a minimum of 1 hour per cycle, because many times we talked about failures to appear. We have to schedule out interpreters. So they may actually never interpret a word, but we have to schedule them out. So they'll charge us a minimum. What we've had is because of the influx of individuals, we've had influx of interpreters come from the west side, where their minimums were 2 and sometimes 3 and 4 hours. And so we've had a culture change within the interpreter community, which unfortunately doubled our cost almost overnight. And so we're dealing with that, and we'll continue to deal with that. We're finding more unique languages where we
There
have.
are rare occasions where the cost is a lot because it's a language that they don't have an interpreter in Spokane. We might have to fly somebody in from out of town.
And give you an example of this, and I'll be really quick. We had a DUI trial, driving under the influence trial, that got very close to going to trial, and our conservative estimate, because it was a very unique language from East Africa, it was $20,000 for a single case. So this is a big, big issue. So having a better solution will help us out in the long run to not only maintain costs, but also meet our contractual obligations on the Constitution.
Okay.
I see a
Thank
few
you.
council members are thinking of going looking at another language and being interpreters. Those dollar signs in your eyes.
Yeah. Okay, let's go on to janitorial. We got a hard stop in about 10 minutes.
Yep, this will be quick. So this is another thing that we contract for every year. We are falling short this year, but we do have a lot of budget savings. A few prosecutors have left this year that we're making at the top end of the scale, and we've hired some people at the bottom of the scale. So we're just asking to use those funds to balance our budget.
So just, are these city employees, or is this, we're contracting out for these?
So if I can clarify this,
Services.
because this is a weird little it's sort of a snafu that happened in the budgeting process, the accounting process last year. We had a vendor that we have to, because we're on the other side of the world, on the north side of the river, we have vendors that we've used for many years. We had a competitive vendor process in 2020, and the vendor that won, in all honesty, was not doing a very good job. And so we had a conversation with them about finding a material breach of the contract. We came up with an agreement to essentially, let them go. ABM stepped in and filled out the remainder of that year, and then we signed a contract late in the year last year. So if you notice, the contract that we reference is a 2021 contract. Well, somehow, because of the lateness, it didn't get encumbered in our budget. So there was no money that was set aside to pay this contract. So what we are doing is moving some salary savings, as Lyndon said, to pay for this contract that we signed. And we have, with accounting, fixed this issue going forward. So the money is there for 2023 and onward. But this was a little bit of a weird thing that happened based upon the timing in which this contract went through. ABM is our current contractor. We have certain requirements because of our CGIS compliance requirements. We can't have just anyone do this.
Okay.
Unfortunately, ABM is one of the main suppliers that can provide persons that are qualified to go into secure locations.
Okay.
And
So
I
it's
was gonna bring that
ABM
up
and
just-
not,
yeah,
okay.
and that's the reason that we don't have city people doing this. I think, I don't know that anybody does off-site custodial work for the city, but
Okay.
being off-site. And then also, we have those, they have to go through background checks, that type of stuff, so. That's the reason for it.
Thank you.
And I think we're looking for a second on that one as well, if anyone has any. So I think
Okay.
I'm on it
Councilman
already.
Bingle is on that as one. So
Oh, good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Councilman Garcia.
Thank you, council.
Jessica, if you come on down and it's an important step, but let's see how fast you can do it.
All right, hello again. So I have two items. The first is a draft of the CIP ordinance. It's being presented to committee prior to its hearing on November 14th. It basically states the first year of the 6-year CIP, so 2023, becomes the capital budget for the next year.
Okay. All right.
Also, a draft of the property tax ordinance is being presented prior to its hearing on November 7th. Per RCW, it states the dollar and percent of increase we are levying, which is 0% for 2023, as the 1% increase allowed is not supported by the mayor.
How many years have we done 1%?
A long time. I don't know the exact year.
Okay, so this would be a huge departure from what we've done previously.
A departure, yes.
Okay, all right. And so what do we need to do to change that? What language to put it to 1%?
Yeah, ultimately, that's up to council, so if you want to submit a substitution.
But can you show us where in your ordinance that needs to, there's a bunch of places. There's a lot of 0% in there, and I'm imagining there's one place that needs to be 1, and I'm wondering, can you send that to us with the 1%?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Real quick, how many years, is there a limit to the number of years that you can set that aside and basically take it later?
Yeah, whenever you submit an ordinance at 0%, $0, you do bank it.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's a limit
okay.
to how many times you can do that.
Because I do know 10 years-ish ago, I think the city council and the mayor's office at the time didn't take it 2 years in a row, and then I believe they had a plan for how they were going to use it the third year. So it's not without precedent that we would
Right.
do this, and especially with property taxes being as high as they are. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll be a sponsor with the new language. But we probably need a second one.
And Councilmember Wilkerson, you okay
Yes.
sponsoring those two?
Jen, we're gonna, there's a track services SBO, 5 minutes for questions.
Well, maybe Tanya, because Tanya said we don't need to do it. Thursday, if Tanya could come up. Thursday, my understanding, I asked why we haven't done the Revive contract, and my understanding was we had not designated where the funds were coming from yet. And then I got an email today, well, it might have been earlier, but I read it today that says, no, we have the funds, we don't need to do anything, we just need to sign the contract. So I'm a little confused on that.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Yes, there is funding you've allocated funding for 2022. Of course, that does involve using the $3.5 million from ARPA, which we showed at the study session. So there's funding for 2022. This contract, as the provider contract, extend, though, into 23. And typically, with multi-year contracts, there is a high confidence level that the future council will adopt a budget that will include funding for those multi-year contracts. In this particular instance, both for the provider and the service contract that's in front of you, there is not funding at a high confidence level for 23, which is the reason why we're bringing that issue forward. Yes, there is funding for 22. If we engage in the contract and you approve it, the contract runs through 23. There's always a clause in these contracts that said in the event that there is no funding, then services will cease. So there is that language, there is that out language.
So we haven't approved money from ARPA for this, but if we did the SBO for criminal justice now and then encumber it for 2023 when we do the encumbrance, that would cover it with a high degree of confidence.
All of the funding in 22 has been already allocated. So there is not 1.5 million available in 22 budget, which is your amendment, for this purpose.
I know, but if we did the SBO, we did an SBO for 1.5 million for criminal justice. There's 1.5 million in the criminal justice fund and allocated it for this purpose for the entire contract and then encumbered it so that when we do our encumbrance.
And what I'm trying to say is there is not 1.5 million in the criminal justice fund that can go towards homelessness in 2022.
I guess I don't understand.
Now, council, if your intent is to use criminal justice funding for this contract with assurance for 23, then we just need to understand that that is your intent and what you desire, and we will have that included as part of the proposed budget for 23. But there is no 23 budget yet to amend.
I know, but I'm confused. In 2022, I mean, there is a criminal justice fund regardless of the budget, and it has reserves in it.
It has reserves. The only amount, though, there are a few different funding sources that go into that fund. Only one of those funding sources can be used for homelessness. The other funding sources cannot be used for homelessness.
And how
So
much
the
of those-
reserves were accumulated prior to 2022, so those reserves are not allowed to be used for homelessness.
And do you have a legal opinion on that?
Well, that was when the effective date of the legislation.
Because that's not what the legislation said explicitly. When I read it, it didn't say you can't use the reserves.
I'd be more than happy to get a legal opinion. It had an effective date, so that was really that was how we were interpreting the legislation was based on the effective date of the legislation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tanya. Dan Bueller came down here, and I want to give him, he made it down here. You got 5 minutes, Dan, and then at 3:11, this meeting will be adjourned.
And for that track SBO to move forward, I've got Council President and Council Member Stratton sponsoring to move that forward.
For what?
The SBO.
I don't know now.
Well, we'll talk.
Okay.
Come on, Dan, yes. We'll talk about that.
So I apologize, I wasn't here earlier. I wasn't aware that this was on, I believe this was on council agenda committee a month ago, so I didn't realize it was on committee agenda again. So this SBO is salary savings to replace 4 trucks dating from the 90s. So 23-year-old vehicles, just part of a normal replacement program. And then we've got the paying for the retainage on the field office move that was necessitated on account of the water department, the property being given to the school district for the new middle school there, I believe. Kind of in a bind on that one. We definitely need to do that. Truck replacement,
22-year-old vehicles.
Is there a reason why it wasn't, the truck replacement wasn't in the budget? That's, I guess, part of our confusion of why it's a suddenly, it sounds like they're old trucks, why it's suddenly, at the end of the year, we got it.
I don't know the answer to that question. I'm new in this position. I can find that answer out. My understanding is the vehicles are generally replaced with salary savings, but I don't know that for sure.
We just had a discussion about that, that's why. You're getting the brunt of our discussion previously, sorry.
Sorry, Dan. Councilman Cathcart.
Yeah, if these vehicles were not replaced or if the money for the vehicles was not replaced in 2022, are they going to survive another few months, year? I mean, is this something that could be put into the plan for 23? And
yeah, we just had a $1,400 replacement on one of them, but they're probably not going to die. I will add, though, that I think Marlene had emailed everybody that because of lead times with vehicles being extensive, we're unlikely to spend the money for about 15, 16 months. So, I mean, we're into 24 there.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about the retainage? I'm not even sure what retainage technically means. I know it means we write a check, but I'm not quite sure.
So when you do a construction project, you withhold a certain percentage to ensure the contractor pays his taxes, pays his workers, and then at the very end, when the whole project this is any construction project, when the whole project is completely done, then that money that they've already earned, we owe them. It's the money, in other words, they've paid their taxes, they've paid their workers, and now we owe them that money. So that can't be delayed.
But wasn't that part of the bid? Didn't we set that aside?
Yeah.
So where did we set it aside from? I mean, it seems like it's an extra $100,000.
No, it was part of the original bid. There's no extra.
Okay.
I don't know the answer how the budgeting works on that. I just know retainage is part of every project.
It's confusing because it's kind of combined, so.
Okay.
All right, Dan, thank you.
Sorry, I didn't have better.
Not your issue. We'll figure it out on this end, so, all right.
Madam Chair, we just need 2 sponsors to move that out of committee. We could take that offline.
I was one of those initially. Still have questions, but.
Oh, you have a question?
No. I'll get them answered
Yeah.
offline.
Did you second? Yeah. Bingo second. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for attending finance today. Our next meeting will be November 21st. It was pretty packed. We'll see you at briefing at 3:30.